The man stabbed himself in the neck. The woman next to her was terrified. But the next second, the man slowly drew the knife out. There was no trace of blood on the knife. He is the immortal who has lived for thousands of years, the only one in the world that can kill him. It is a unique dagger. Since the guardian of the previous generation was killed, for safety reasons, members of the loyalty gang put the dagger in a heavily guarded museum. In order to kill the last undead, they must get the dagger. Hakan and Ermin entered the museum many times. Field observation. Monk uses their candid camera, successfully got the password of the room door, after several days of careful research. Hakan made a plan, but the only thing that didn't get through was, for a museum like the Iron Cage, even if you get the dagger, don't know where to escape. Monk asked them to find a girl named Amy. The girl's father, used to be the security guard of the museum, is also a member of the loyalty gang. Because of my father, she has been messing around in museums since she was a child. Know the museum well. After the father died, in order to support myself everywhere on the streets, she handed her bracelet to Hakan. Inside is the password to the roof of the museum. With the escape code, in the evening, they formally implemented Hakan's plan. The two first climbed onto the roof of the museum. Avoid all monitoring. Press the code to enter the room, then burn the wires of the server. The next day, Hakan entered the museum pretending to be a maintenance worker. Ermin and Amy go in and visit as a tourist. Hakan first came to the monitoring room. While the security is not paying attention, first one was stunned. Then another security guard was knocked out. Quickly lock the door, then insert the U-disc into the computer. The monk outside quickly connects and successfully control the monitoring and alarm system after the two pressed the countdown. Monk immediately sent a message to Ermin and Amy. Ermin pretended that his phone was stolen by Amy, successfully lead everyone outside. Hakan took the opportunity to enter the room. However, the security guard who had just been knocked out woke up and pressed the alert. Monk had to take out his gun, then enter the museum. Shoot at the sky, suppress the scene. Hakan inside, blast the bulletproof glass with a small bomb. The moment he got the dagger, the figure of the guardian 1,000 years ago flashed in his mind. The man stuck a small bomb on the glass. The glass was shattered by the explosion in an instant. The moment he took the dagger. Thousands of years ago, the figure of the guardian flashed by. This is the only dagger that can kill the undead. Just then the alarm sounded. The monk who has been commanding outside came in with a gun, then shoot at the sky, suppress the scene. Hakan is ready to take the opportunity to leave, but he was discovered by the security guard who knocked out before. Monk fired 2 more shots, frightened them. Hakan quickly pressed the code, and then ran up to the top of the building. A group of security guards also caught up. I fired a few shots at him. There is no way to escape, can only take a leap. Taking advantage of the messy Amy, changed the license plate quickly. Hakan got in the car too. However, Monk was taken away. There are police everywhere now. The three had to leave first. The news that the dagger was stolen. Soon on the news, Erdem of the Undead, through the investigation, identified Hakan is now the guardian of the only surviving blood. Soon, the police were fully armed. To search Monk's pharmacy, Hakan and Ermin, hiding in the secret room, escaped. The next day was the Amy of the director's old acquaintance, came to make a big noise on purpose. Then hugged the captured monk. Monk took the opportunity to bring him a sentence. It was to ask Ermin to find someone named Simon. Simon is the veteran of the loyal state. I am also the owner of a local bar in black and white, because I didn't protect the Hakan family, and self-blame for many years. With his help, Monk was released soon. Hakan got the dagger. For Erdem the Undead, is a fatal threat. He sent his men to catch him, tied to a chair, and forced him to hand over the dagger. His girlfriend Layla happened to pass by. Heard the sound of heavy broken glass. Hakan fell to the ground, quickly picked up a piece of glass. After cutting the rope, a glass pierced his neck. Watching the dead, Hakan was stunned for a moment. Because before that, everyone thinks that he is an undead who has lived for 1,000 years. Unexpectedly, he killed the wrong person. At this time, Layla pushed in. Hakan was taken away by the police the next day. When he turned around, see the jewel on Layla's neck lit up. He knew that Erdem was the undead, but how could Layla have a gem of 1,000 years ago? The police didn't believe it. Hakan is because of legitimate defense, because he didn't even have a scar on his hand. Not long after, Erdem with hands and eyes open to the sky. It cost 10 million to rescue Hakan, because he needs Hakan's blood, to save his wife who has been dead for more than 20 years, and kidnap Layla. He shot her without hesitation. Force Hakan to take off his magic clothes. After Hakan took off his clothes, he stretched his hand to the rune on his chest. The man stretched his hand to his chest, grasped the glowing rune hard, then slowly pulled it out. Turned out to be a piece of clothing, then threw the clothes to Erdem. After taking the clothes, Erdem took out another small bottle. Threw it to Hakan. Hakan picked up the dagger on the ground, hold tightly. The blood stayed in the bottle with the dagger. Then he threw the bottle full of blood to him. Erdem put the gun against Layla's head again, threatening Hakan to install the dagger for him. The girlfriend is in his hands. Hakan can only do it obediently. Erdem who got things. Slowly back to the door of the room, then a few thugs came in. Erdem ordered his men to kill Hakan. Several people quickly walked towards him, looking at Layla, who was seriously injured. The battle can only be resolved quickly. After solving a few thugs, Layla quickly left. Go back to Monk's pharmacy. There was no one inside. Layla, who was not treated in time, also died slowly. Hakan promised to save her. And the only way, just use that magic knife, cut through the blood of the undead, feed her to drink. The other side, Monk, is to find out who is the last undead. He and Ermin found it. Buddy, who was expelled from the gang that year, she was once responsible for tracing and stalking the undead. Behind it unexpectedly broke with the loyal gang for the undead. His men grabbed the two with guns from behind. The intelligence was not asked. Instead, he was locked in an iron box. Then turn on the gas switch. The gas gradually filled the box. Ermin crawled out of the vent at the critical moment when he opened the iron door. Monk has been poisoned to death. In the basement of St. Sophia Church, an archaeologist is studying cultural relics. Suddenly Erdem was killed from behind. And inside, it is the burial place of the 6 undead. He put the magic knife aside, then he pushed away his wife's sarcophagus. Outside the church, Hakan and Ermin also followed here, and brought Layla over, who was already dead, just when Erdem was about to feed his wife blood. Hakan rushed over and knocked the cup off with one shot. There is no magic knife. Erdem is an immortal. Hakan can only fight hard with him. At this moment Ermin threw the magic knife over. Hakan picked it up quickly, stabbed Erdem, ready to unplug. Then when he stabbed the second knife, but it was knocked out by Erdem, Ermin quickly picked up the knife on the ground. Feed to Layla, who is dead, and the blood that was knocked over before, actually crawled towards the coffin by himself, then slowly crawled in. Just when the two of them pinched you to death, Erdem's wife's voice sounded. People who have been dead for more than 20 years have been resurrected, even the ferocious Erdem, also crying to tears. At this moment Ermin brought the knife over, just when Hakan was about to kill Erdem again. The blood on the ground crawled towards the other coffins again. Suddenly the whole underground began to tremble non-stop. Then 5 other undead were also resurrected. Then all walked out of the coffin, and Layla, who had just been blood-fed, also resurrected.